There's no shortage of material on how different men and women are. But as we're in a marriage, I believe with all my heart, we were created to complement each other, not to frustrate each other. Now, I know frustration happens. I know firsthand. It drives my wife crazy. She was like, "You are so OCD. You are OCD." And I am. My shirts are darkest to lightest. My pants darkest to lightest. My drawers are organized. Everything has a place. Everything in its place. I am OCD. Well, if I'm OCD, my wife has a condition I call GILD, get it later disorder. And it is a real disorder, and I'm going to coin it, and I hope they name it after my wife. I'll give you the perfect example. I had to go to the bathroom the other night. We've lived in our house 15 years. I know where the bathroom is. I'm walking in the dark, but she has left the drawers to her sink open. And as I'm walking, I nail one of her drawers. And I'm like, oh man, got a gash in my leg. Use the restroom, go back to sleep. Next morning, I'm brushing my teeth. My wife walks in. She goes, "What was that noise last night?" And I'm like, "Baby, you left your drawers open." And at that moment, if you're married to somebody with GILD, you will know this phrase. She said, "I didn't have time. I was in a hurry when I was going to work. I didn't have time." You didn't have time to push in your drawers. I said, "Baby, you got a stopwatch on your iPhone. I want you to get it out. Time this. Ready? Go." How long was that? And she was just like, I don't know why. And a few weeks after that, went downstairs to get a drink of water. I know where the cabinets are. I went to open the cabinet. Didn't need to. It was already open. Just, poof. Oh, man. I woke up the next morning to the most blood-curdling scream I've ever heard. She just welched out. "Ah!" I'm like, what? I am laying in a pool of blood. Gash on my forehead, big old goose egg. And she's like, "What happened to you? What happened to you?" And I'm like, "Baby, you left the cabinet door open." I said, "Oh." And she's like, I didn't have time. She goes, "Sometimes I feel like I frustrate you. I just feel like I frustrate you." And I'm like, baby, you do. You frustrate the crud out of me sometimes. And I said, "But baby, you got to understand, it's like 3% of the time." And too often in marriages, we let that 3% override everything. I said, "Baby, that's 97% of the time. I love everything about you. You're the life of the party. I'm the wallflower. You're spontaneous. I can be spontaneous. I just need a couple days to plan for it." But here's the thing. She looked at me. She goes, "Well, you frustrate me too." And I'm like, "Baby, I know. But you got to look at the good side of OCD." I said, I can't walk through the kitchen. If there's dishes, I have to do them. Ladies, I vacuum without being asked. Now, my wife will vouch for this, and it is true, because I wash, soften, dry, fold, and iron all the laundry at our house. It's just my thing. Now, I know, and I'm self-aware, that I'm below average looking to most people. But to several women, just hearing that, I might have become one of the sexiest men alive. And I realize that, but you know what? It's just who we are. And the key is to not look at those differences. Yes, she's more emotional, I'm more logical. Yes, she's more verbal, I'm more contemplative. All those differences were not meant to frustrate us. They were meant to draw us together and make us more complete. In this session, you're going to talk about and read some great questions about not only how different you are, but how can I appreciate those differences? I've learned that in a major way. It used to drive me crazy. My wife would be so spontaneous to have a list to do that there's no way we could get it done. And she would just say, just relax, let's just try. And I thought, great, we're going to try. I'm going to let this fall flat on its face, and then I'm going to look. Do you know I counted about 98% of the time, it works out. And I got really mad for several years that it just worked out with no planning, because you got to plan. The inverse is true also. She'll say sometimes like, "You know what? I want to go to the beach. We're going to the beach. It's a long drive, but I want to be there by lunch." And then she'll piddle and diddle and all that to where we end up there past dinner by the time we get down there, and she's frustrated. And she's learned to appreciate now where she's like, "Hey, if we're going to be there at lunch, What do we need to do? When do we need to leave? What plans do we need to make? She's learned to appreciate that part that I am good at, and I definitely appreciate and value what she's great at. And it makes us and our family so much better. Today, in your session, go through the questions, not only identify the differences, but learn to appreciate those. Have a great time. Can't wait to see you next time.